can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up shit. He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white on white violence.
People, welcome back to my channel, Yano Show. KE. In case you're new here, just consider subscribing, and I welcome you all, guys, from wherever country you are watching me. So, guys, this story about Charles Kirk that has sparked internet. We see that he was assassinated while addressing an audience in Utah University in USA. So, people have come out clearly saying that they will not show empathy to Charles Kirk, and they are saying that they are drawing their views on the talks Charles Kirk was talking about empathy, and we see that he said that he will not show empathy, and people now say that they are doing the same, and they will not show empathy either to him because of the last talks or the last words that he spoke about empathy. So here are some of the reaction of white and black people reacting that they will not show empathy to Charles Kirk. So I don't know what is your take on this story, and let me know in the comment section. Let us view your reaction to this story. But don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up shit. He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white on white violence. He died? Damn, B. Life comes at you fast. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk because I cannot be in his shoes. I have no frame of reference for that. I have no cognizance for that. There literally is nothing about his existence that I can relate to.
Listen, I don't think he got what he deserved. I think he got what he thought other people deserved. He died in a world that he said he wanted.
This is a message. What happened to Charlie Kirk is a message saying that this will happen to anyone, anywhere. And the thing of it is, people that are shocked by how all this political violence is playing out and the ripple effects it's having, well, this is the patriarchy. They've always been violent like this. Now, it's moved into full-on fascism. So there's a lot of talk about domestic abuse and how that's a precursor for things like authoritarianism. They're the, kind of types. We have a president that brags about being a strong man, that has been a bully his entire life. And he's definitely a misogynist. Yet Charlie Kirk wasn't enough of a bully misogynist for him, was he?
People, do me a favor. Look up and down your timeline. You see all these people out there that's crying over Charlie Kirk, no matter the political party, because Maya Angelou said that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. You will see a bigot, a minority who is desperate for a little piece of proximity to whiteness. And you will see a raccoon that's still out here river dancing for somebody who used to actually eat us. Please spare me with that, he was a God-fearing man and a loving father, because everybody knows there's no hate like Christian love. You know what I'm saying? Some of the most hateful people on this planet hide behind the church. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the same man that y'all talking about that's a loving father who said that if his daughter got SA'd at the age of 10, he would force her to have the baby by the abuser. That sounds like hate to me. Oh, I find so much humor in people yelling, "Make America Great Again," because America was only great for them. You understand what I'm saying? Because when I look at all the farmers that are catching hell now, I rejoice and laughing at their pain. You know why? Because the only thing that I could think about when they talk about all their crops, their potatoes and everything else, I think about the strange fruit. My ancestors hanging from them trees.
Hey guys, today I'm recording Charlie Kirk. This is not to take away from his death. I do not think he's been shot. It'd be horrible for his family and everybody listening that had to watch what happened. And this is just to prove why I don't think he was a good person and why I don't feel empathy for him, but I feel empathy for his family. Okay, I wrote down my notes, so I think at the end of the video, if I speak too fast, if you guys don't understand, if you guys want a fact check, let's do that. First he said, in a quote, "I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights." Second, global warming is not incredibly important. Next, he called the Civil Rights Act of 1964 a destructive force in American politics. And if you don't know what the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was, it was basically a law that passed to make discrimination because of religion, race, or sex illegal. Next, he called Dr. Martin Luther King an awful person, does not believe in the separation of church and state. He's called white privilege a racist idea and said that it was not true. He does not believe in Juneteenth. He doesn't think it should be a holiday. Next, he proposed halting legal immigration for 40 years to return to what he claimed was America's peak foreign-born percentage. He said being transgender was a mental illness, called same-sex marriage a moral outrage. He said abortion was worse than the Holocaust. He said that if his 10-year-old daughter was hypothetically great, he would not let her get an abortion. He said that women need to reject feminism and submit to their husbands. And then he also said that he does not believe in the word empathy, and he thinks that it should not exist, because we have just gotten too sensitive. That is all the quotes I have right now. I'm gonna add them at the end of the video. But yeah, I just wanted to show that he was not, in fact, an amazing person. I don't think you should have been shocked, guys. I don't want to be able to twist my words. I think it was horrible, but I'm just trying to show that he was not an amazing person. These are the notes, by the way. Again, if, you can't read it, just, use, common sense, I guess. Other page.
Say good again. Say good. Bye. Fuck off my fucking phone, guys.
Let me be super clear. I don't and can't have empathy for Charlie Kirk because that man spent his career dragging black women every damn chance he got. He called a black woman that was working customer service moronic, like her only job was to serve his fragile ego. He also said Michelle Obama and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson only got where they are because of affirmative action. Like if two of the most brilliant black women alive just stumbled into history by accident. That's not a slip of a tongue. That's a pattern that we're seeing every day now in this administration. Racism mixed with misogyny. Served cold on a podcast mic. And now folks want to cry sympathy? Nah. If you spend your life shitting on black women, don't expect flowers when you're gone. The trash took itself out, period.
For those of you who don't know, I work in psychology. So I recently did a bit of a pivot for the focus of my study and decided social innovation and systemic change was something that was really important to me, and I wanted to understand it more as I developed my business. I'm in my 50s and I'm a working professional. So this doctoral program is, as I work, I'm doing my research because it's aligned with my business. A word we talk about often is empathy. And I know it's a big word because apparently Charlie Kirk didn't believe in it. And a lot of people are upset that many of us can't seem to drum it up for his death. And the moral license that people want to give public figures, especially when they have a harmful legacy, because they have a family, like when they're talking about how Charlie had small children, it's people want to do it because it gives them less responsibility for not speaking up more when he was alive. They knew his narrative wasn't good, but they also didn't want to admit that it resonated with them even a little bit. So now that he's gone, they can just sit there and boo-hoo cry about it and cry about his children and cry about how he was so violently taken down and blame political affiliations or opposite political affiliations rather It's just easier for them to do that than to really sit and take responsibility for identifying with somebody who clearly didn't have the best interest for humanity at heart. The person was a racist. He was a misogynist. He didn't believe in equal rights. And he was really vocal about it. He was really a champion for the mediocre in this country. People who didn't work hard, who weren't capable of working hard, people who were entitled, and with things like DEI and with things like Black women being the most educated group of people in this country, it just didn't sit well with them. And they already all knew better than to say that those facts didn't sit well with them. So they would just pick at other little things, right? If you don't understand, this page isn't for you. So it's easier for them to stand in their performative empathy because it's really not that hard of work. They're not really putting themselves at risk to say thoughts and prayers for Charlie and having empathy and the guy didn't deserve to die. They're not really putting themselves out there for saying the guy didn't deserve to die, right? These are the people that bring God and Jesus into it. Never mind the fact that Charlie was the furthest thing from a real Christian, as far as I can see. The guy didn't believe in any type of charity for anyone other than himself and those who thought like him. And really, it's a lot of young white men who have discovered that, they're not all getting a participation trophy. They have to really work for it. And women who have been so brainwashed into not thinking for themselves, their capacity to think beyond what's very, very directly in front of them is almost like worn to nothing. They just don't have it. But they have the self-awareness enough to be embarrassed by it. So rather than looking inward and seeing where they're lacking, they want to point it out and attack other people with it. That's why they're so mad right now. That's why they're so pissed off that many people cannot sum up enough empathy. Something that the guy didn't believe in anyway. And it's not that we're rejoicing. It's not that we're celebrating that somebody met such a tragic death. It just means that our empathy is spent elsewhere for people who truly have earned it.
Okay, y'all know I have to have a filter on, child, because I should not be in the bed talking about this. And I try to put my old lady glasses on, but my old lady glasses have had it because the internet is on fire today. On fire. So let me say in advance, God knows my heart. The comments today on some of the things have been I have to say I don't want to say they were funny, but I will say they're ironic. So let's look at what first is important. School shootings happened today. We're still worried about the school shootings that happened last week. There was a today in Dallas, which is tragic and wild. But here, let's go back to Mr. Charlie Kirk. Okay? The man that said that he doesn't like the word empathy. Okay. So we'll wipe that off the table then today. Now, I don't wish death on nobody because I am worried about what is going on, honey. I think it is time for the rapture. And it must be serious because I'm sitting in the bed with the scarf on my head. But I'm a black woman, so y'all know how that goes down. Anywho, what I have to say about that is, I'm going to talk about it, then I'm going to get to the comments. Okay? And do what you want in the bottom. But if you do too much, I'm not going to worry about you. But, so Mr. Kirk got shot by somebody who is clearly not a beginner. A couple things that I noticed in the video. That had to be close range or a sniper. There was a gentleman behind him that a lot of people were pointing out because it looked like he was even giving like some baseball signals or something like that, like this is the time or something like that. But what was really interesting and ironic, Lord forgive me, my heart, was that he just said gang violence. Funny, I don't think it was the Crips and the Bloods that was out there today trying to take out Mr. Kirk on the gang violence piece of it. But I did find that it was ironic that that's what he said as soon as it happened. But what I also found interesting, outside of the very, I don't want to say they were funny, y'all, but they were saying, you don't want empathy, sir, then you won't get it, basically, is what was being said. But what I also found that was interesting is somebody put in the comments, oh my God, like, I can't believe they're still showing this. Like, murders are usually taken down off the internet immediately. Karen, Barbie, who, what? So, murders are taken down immediately. So, all the George Floyds of it all. I mean, black folks, we're still traumatized by Emmett Till. It goes back so far. So you mean to tell me that every single time one of our people got shot, and we have to watch it immediately over and over and over and over again, and one more time, and then we're hashtags, and then all of a sudden it's in our nightmares still. We can find them anywhere on the internet. But you're not shocked by that. Yeah, okay. Well, then you go back and you watch all those videos and you stay traumatized like we are. How about that? How about that? Really? Shocked? Really? No, you need to see it. Then you the one that needs to see it. Yeah, you need to keep that in your mind's eye. You need to keep it at the front of here. Because you need a reminder that you're an idiot. That you're trapped in a little house in a trailer park and you're an idiot. That you're sleeping under a rock because you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Did you just get the internet today? Are you kidding me? Oh no, you're the person that needed to see it so that you could get a reminder that this shit is about to change the world. That we live in a world that is like a toilet that is not flushed. No, you need to watch that over and over again, homegirl. You was lost in the sauce. As a matter of fact, you got raisins in the potato salad. If you think that for one moment that all of the murders should be taken down, and you're so shocked to see his. We are living in the nightmares of the replaying of all of the murders of not just people of color, but small children while they are praying. No. We done seen that over and over and over again. There was a school shooting today. All of a sudden, President Cheeto Head want to take down the flag to the half staff. When this man done said he doesn't believe in the word empathy, so he's not getting it. Lord, forgive me, you know my heart. It is the rapture, honey. But the audacity, the caucasity must be at its highest. And I'm going to say this to you because I can say this, because I'm 51 right now. Because somebody's going to be like, oh my God, Monique, how could you say those things? And here, I'm going to say this. Thank you, Taraji P. Henson, for this because I don't want to steal something that's copywritten. But she had made a mention to me about, you only have so many fucks to give in your life. Right? So when you get to about 50, you realize you only have 50 fucks to give when you want to talk about something like a Charlie Kirk shooting. Okay? So I'm 51. So I done run out of the fucks to give when I'm talking about a Mr. Charlie Kirk shooting. This man said that he did not believe in the word of empathy. So when you see all those comments that are going down and people are saying, do you have a coupon for a quick car? Or I just got the cinnamon buns from Trader Joe's today. Hey, that garlic seasoning goes great on that crab. When you see all them comments at the bottom and your little funky ass comment comes about, murder should be taken down. Why don't you take one of them recipes that come out all them comments? How about that? You're welcome. Just in case you didn't hear the news today, you heard it from me. You're welcome.
Charlie Kirk did not have empathy for the children in Gaza, the children dying in school shootings, or the victims of police brutality. Get ready with me while I talk about the whole Charlie Kirk thing. Honestly, Obviously, I'm going to start off by saying he did not deserve to die. Nobody deserves to die. That's the bottom line. But there are some things that need to be talked about. For one, he was a terrible person, obviously. We know that. I mean, he had no type of empathy. He was a very hateful person who was anti-black, anti-LGBT, anti-abortion, anti-women's rights, anti-anything that benefits anyone that isn't a straight white man. And everyone that I see reposting his death, not one of you reposted Breonna Taylor, not one of you reposted George Floyd, not one of you reposted Trayvon Martin, not one of you reposted any of the children in Gaza, not one of you reposted any of the children that are dying in school shootings. You guys like to just pick and choose when to have empathy, when to suddenly have a moral compass, but when other people are dying that's not a white man, you guys don't care. You don't give a fuck. I don't see any of you guys reposting that. You don't repost anyone that's not a straight white man. It's just really sick seeing everyone reposting, pray for Charlie, pray for Charlie. Like, yes, okay, pray for him and his family because obviously no one deserves to go through that. But it's just crazy how you guys like to pick and choose when to suddenly have a moral compass, when to suddenly have humanity. There are people dying every day to gun violence, and I don't see any of you guys reposting that. There are people that are dying right now on the Gaza Strip, being bombed and starved every single day. Not one of you are reposting that. When it comes to people like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, and the list goes on, you guys have no type of empathy. You make excuse after excuse after excuse as to why their deaths were okay. There was just a shooting at a high school in Colorado, literally right after Charlie Kirk's death. But you guys don't care about that. No, it's all about the white man, the white man, the white man, the white man. And for you idiots that I know are going to comment about this, no, I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form that shooting Charlie was okay. Because it wasn't. Obviously, there needs to be gun reform. And we've been saying this. But you guys haven't been saying it. You guys have been actively fighting against it. Just like your boy that just died. That he was fighting against it actively every single day. But now all of a sudden your golden boy passes away due to the very thing that he was fighting to keep. Now all of a sudden it's, we need gun reform. No, don't switch up now. You guys are suddenly saying the very thing that we've been saying for years. But it didn't matter to you until the white man died. I'm just saying all this because I'm tired of seeing you guys pick and choose when you want to be human, when you want to have empathy. Where is your empathy for the children in Gaza that are being starved and bombed every single day in and day out without fail? Where is your empathy for the victims of police brutality that got killed simply for being black? Where's your sympathy, your empathy for the children that are dying in school shootings every single day? The hundreds of children that die in school shootings every single year. Where's your empathy? Is non-existent because you guys don't care about anything unless it affects the white man. And that's the bottom line. I'm finished, but bottom line, stop acting like you have morals because you don't. You don't care when it's anybody but a white man. Bye.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Now everybody's ganging up against me. For what? What the fuck did I do?
So today I've been seeing a lot of people get on the internet and try to tell me that I should have empathy for a man who didn't believe in empathy. And I find that notion to be ridiculous. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, yesterday at a speaking event in Utah, Charlie Kirk was, in better words, packed up and sent right where he belongs. Hell, and I have no sympathy nor empathy to send to his family because at the end of the day, Charlie Kirk was a terrible person. He was an indecent man, and he really, to be honest, didn't need to be here with the things that he was saying. The things that he was saying was literally going against every marginalized group of people that were not white. And he made a career off of it because people who believed that paid him to go to different places and spew that rhetoric to gain support. And that right there is something that we don't need in this world. So I have no empathy nor sympathy to give him. In fact, all of the clips that they are running back and all of the things that he said, like there's not one clip that I'm coming across that makes me feel like this man deserves an ounce of sympathy or empathy from anyone. I don't even really care about his wife, because at the end of the day, his wife laid down next to a racist. Like, you gotta imagine the pillow talks that they had. He probably said some vile shit to this woman, and this woman stuck by his side till the end. Like, I don't have any empathy for his kids, because at the end of the day, his kids, he was probably raising monsters at the end of the day. Like, just imagine the things that he was going to teach those children growing up in this world. So, to be honest, I don't really care about, Charlie Kirk not being here, because Charlie Kirk made it harder for people that look like me and other marginalized groups of people. And if you have empathy for them, you need to question, what you really stand for at the end of the day, because, morally, how can you support someone who made a career out of being hateful? That's a real question. Like, how could you? And if you can, find empathy in that, then where was that empathy when he was saying all of the hateful things that he was saying and talking about the marginalized groups of people that he was talking about? What was the empathy for them? You know what I mean? Like, because even I was watching, and he didn't always, have things that were pertaining to black people. Sometimes he was talking about immigrants, trans people, gay people. He was just talking out the side of his neck, ironically. And now he's not here, and I don't have any empathy at all to spare him, because at the end of the day, like I said, he was a terrible person.
As somebody who had public disagreements with Charlie Kirk, this is the last video I am going to make on this topic. I hope that every single person that is celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, even if you think he is the most evil person of all time, realizes what is going to come in this country. You are creating radicals on the other side. It is only a matter of time before the same thing happens to your party, and they will feel justified for doing it. And that will start an extreme back and forth slippery slope, and we've seen it time and time again in history. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, Bloody Kansas, you can name the events, this never ends well. And that is just the historical, factual argument. Then there is the human argument. To the comments like this, the videos making comments like this, and especially the guy who was there, right in the front row, who danced and cheered right as it happened, you are not a human being. You need to realize that the reason he said everything that he said, even if you think it is pure evil, was to help people. He is a man, even if you disagree with him, who devoted his entire life to trying to help people, to posing ideas that he believes would help people. And he did so in an extremely respectful manner. We cannot normalize killing people just because they have different opinions than you. That is pure evil.
People saying I don't care about human lives because I'm not sad about Charlie Kirk dying. If you mourn that man or any other Nazi fascist that goes along with him, you do not care about human lives. Charlie Kirk was a net negative on human life. While he's never directly murdered somebody, his rhetoric, contributing to the alt-right pipeline, contributing to a lot of people suddenly having support for Trump. They brag about him, getting the youth in support of Trump. His vile rhetoric and how it has spread in society has caused loss of life, loss of quality of life for minorities, and also having enough support for Trump being voted in has already caused major loss of life and will continue to do so. So no, I'm not going to cry over a dead Nazi. Charlie Kirk once said that empathy is a made-up word and it actually causes damage. So in honor of him, I'm having no empathy. He also said it was worth it for people to die to gun violence if it means people get to have guns. He cheered and celebrated when other people met the same demise, so.
You guys want to know why I don't care that Charlie Kirk is dead? And apparently some of you don't understand that. You want to know why? Because he literally would never, ever give a single flying fuck if anyone who is not a simple white straight man, he would not care if you were dying on the street. He literally acts like empathy is a scam. He acted like it doesn't matter. He was fine with children dying in schools. What if it was the school that his children went to? I don't even know if would his kids even have gone to regular public school, or would he would have put them in private school so it didn't happen to him? He would not care. He would never care. And I understand if you don't like that. But it's not because I have no empathy or no humanity. It's because he has no empathy for anybody. So I'm not going to care about that.
Charlie Kirk did not believe in empathy. He said it himself. And so while I feel it is very unfortunate that he has been unalive, I am not going to police other people and try to tell other people how they should feel, especially those that have been the target of many of his vile words, many of the things that he said, the divisiveness, etc. You cannot police and tell other people how they should feel when they have been hurt and truly affected by this man's words. So yes, I may have some empathy for his family, and I pray that his family becomes advocates against the very things that he stood for, such as racism, such as guns, such as divisiveness, and so many other things. I pray his family becomes advocates against those things, right? But I'm also not going to police and tell other people that they are wrong and they are this and that because they don't feel empathy. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. And that's not in anyone's place to tell someone else how they should feel, especially those that have been targets.
Why? Like, I just want to say it seriously. Why do the left constantly feel like we have to be morally superior over the right? Like, quite simply, if it was the other way around and the left activist had died, the right would be laughing. They would be holding their guns close and being like, well, this is our Second Amendment right. And people would not give a shit, right? People would just be like, oh, well, you know what? That's typical of the right because they have no empathy anyway. But the second it's the other way around, right? The second the left is somewhat happy because someone dies because they're an awful person, an actual awful person, right? It's the equivalent of someone like Hitler dying and you feeling sorry for them. I'm just going to go that far and say that. But like, and then people start pointing fingers and saying, oh, well, you have no empathy. What are you doing? Like, the left don't have to be morally superior over the right. You do realise that, right? Like, you do realise that. Like, this man was a horrible person. So no, I will not have any ounce of sympathy for a person like that, who had no empathy for other people. Millions of innocent people die every day, whether it be in war, in conflicts, or in hate crimes, or in any way. But innocent people are dying every day, right? I feel bad for those people because those people don't deserve it. I'm not saying that, like, I think that anybody really deserves to get shot in the neck or whatever. I've seen the video, it was gruesome. I don't understand how TikTok hasn't taken that down yet. I don't know whether it has been taken down, I don't know. But quite simply, this man was pro-guns, which, I don't know, that's kind of ironic. Like, you're gonna sit there being like, oh, well, we can't have any control on guns, and then you get shot by one. I mean, that's kind of karma if I ever heard one myself, I don't know. But hey, I don't know. But also, he was just an awful person. Like, you know, I don't feel bad for his family, because his family would be better off without a man like that. His wife would be better off without a man like that. His children would be better off without a father like that. And people are going to come at me and be like, that makes you a horrible person. But he has said some really fucked up things. Like, I try to avoid any Charlie Kirk video that I can. But he literally said that he would be fine with his daughter being raped and having to carry the baby full term, even if she was like, I don't know, a teenager or something. I try to avoid these debates, but that honestly was horrific. Like, everything that comes out of his mouth also was just pure hatred towards, he was racist, sexist, he was an absolute pig, right? And you want me to sit here and be like, oh, it's really sad that he died. I feel nothing. It's the equivalent of if Trump died. I am sorry, but my sympathies and my empathies only extend so far. And simply, my empathy is only towards people that deserve it, right? That is earned, right? If you are not a good person, if you are an asshole to me, I will be an asshole to you, right? And simply, if I had met Charlie Kirk on the street, I'd want to punch him. Like, I'm gonna be honest, because he was an awful person. And so no, I'm not going to extend any kind of sympathy, any kind of empathy for a man like that. And you don't have to. And it's just funny that literally the left feel like they have to be morally superior and be crying over a man like that, whereas the right don't give a shit, and that's expected of them. Right? Simply, right, you are allowed, right, to feel happy about a man like that dying because he was awful. And all these people, like, I don't know, I follow Dina, and all they crying about it, I don't know, you're crying over a white nationalist, my guy. What the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't know, it's one of those things where people are going to come at me and be like, oh, you have no empathy. I have a load of empathy. I'm actually quite an empathetic person. Despite being autistic, I am quite an empathetic person when it is deserved. Like, I'm sorry, like, when I saw the news of him dying, I just went, oh, okay. Like, I felt nothing. I feel bad for the hundreds of kids that die in school shootings all the time, right? Every single day in that country. I feel bad for the innocent people in Palestine that are dying. I feel bad for the innocent Ukrainians that are dying. I feel bad for innocent people that die. That person was not an innocent person. He's looking up at us. He's in hell. There is no way that guy got into heaven. I'm sorry, even if heaven and hell existed, he'd be down there. He'd be looking up at us with that really weird gummy smile, like, like, he was awful. Awful person. And so, no, I'm not going to have or shed any ounce of sympathy. And if you're going to do that, this is why people laugh at the left. This is why people say the left are weak. Because you don't have to extend sympathy and empathy for every single person. You do realise that. To have empathy is a wonderful thing, but you don't have to have it for every single person. Like, and that does not make you a horrible person for saying that, right? And all these people, like, oh, there's a couple creators out on here, like, oh, I don't talk about politics, I wouldn't say I'm left or right. Okay, well, that probably means you lean a bit right, love. If you're not going to say it, like, I'm going to say it for you. If you're not political, if you're not going to say anything, that means you lean right. That means that you lean right and you don't want to own it because you know you're going to get hate for it. But yeah, no, like, I've seen one creator say that shit. And also being like, oh, it's sick that you guys are laughing about it. I think it's a bit far to laugh about it. But not having sympathy for a man like that is quite normal. Like, it's simply like, it's like someone were to kill your mother, right? And you go to the trial and the judge is like, you have to forgive them now. You know, I'm good. You just arrest that fucker. You know what I mean? Like, there are some people that are just bad people, like Hitler. Like, Hitler died. Oh, sad. The man that committed genocide who tried to commit genocide against Jews and was an awful person and gassed people and put them in concentration. Oh, he died. Oh, his poor wife. I think he had a wife. Did he have children? I know. Oh, his poor family. Oh, like, I don't know. I don't feel nothing, my guys. I feel nothing. And it's always men saying it. It's always men. The women, right, are like sitting there like, he was a bad man. It's always the men. It's always the men. And that is just telling, right? That guy was a misogynistic pig, right? And so, no, I feel nothing. I actually think his wife would be better off without him. I think his children would be better off without a father like that. And people are going to come at me and say that I'm an awful person. Oh. But simply, right, this is why the left lose, right? Because you have no backbone with anything, right? We don't have to extend sympathy for every single person to make us good people. That's not how sympathy or empathy work. And stop coming on this app and trying to make people feel bad about being happy that a man died like that. That was awful. That was an awful person. Because simply, you're not on your fucking moral high horse. I feel like all these political activists that are crying about it are just crying because they're like sad that this could happen to them, that they feel this kind of fear because they speak out about something, that this could happen to them. And like, yes, we should have better gun control in America, of course, but is that ever going to happen? But like, it's one of those things where like, you're allowed to be sad and scared for yourself. That's normal. But crying over a man like that, I lose respect for you. And like, genuinely, like, I don't care about genuinely, I genuinely try not to talk much about politics, but yes, I am left wing. But I will say that with my whole heart. And if you will not say that, if you're going to sit there and be like, oh well, I don't talk about politics, I'm not going to choose a side, that tells me everything I need to know about you. That means that you lean right, and you can sit there and be like, oh well, I didn't say that. Well, it's one of those things where like, I don't believe people these days are actually centralists. And people are again going to come at me on that. But like, if you're going to sit there and say that you don't lean either way, right, that tells me everything, right? That tells me that you probably voted for Trump. and you just don't want to admit it online. And you know, as I've said before, it's quite telling that it's all the men that are crying about this, because all the women don't give a shit. Like, all the women do not give a shit. Like, the guy was pro-violence, right? If a guy is pro-violence, right, and then has violence get put onto them, right, I feel nothing. I feel absolutely nothing, because he would not feel anything towards other people. Like, if other people had died at that event other than him, he would not have given a shit. So why should I give a shit? Why should I extend any kind of sympathy towards a man that doesn't give a shit about other people and who doesn't feel any empathy towards anyone else?
To the people upset that Charlie Kirk got, you don't actually stand for anything meaningful. I feel like people are like, oh, he just said some stuff. He didn't really deserve to get got. And it's like, he didn't just say stuff. He was an active contributor into the rise of authoritarianism and to getting Donald Trump in power. He has direct influence as to what we're experiencing now and who's getting hurt by what we're experiencing. No, but this sadness and outrage is just silly to me, because I know these same people, like, when it comes to families and children getting separated at the border and then children getting abused and locked up, silence. They don't give a fuck. When it comes to immigrants and even citizens getting put away into detention centers where they're being mistreated and abused, nothing, nada. When it comes to Southern women who are getting forced to give birth, and now we have a dumpster baby epidemic in Texas, who really cares, right? But the person who has directly influenced this kind of suffering unto others by getting Donald Trump into office and making a bunch of money off of it, he's a grifter. When he gets got, these same people are like upset. Like, they have a lot to say about that. They just don't stand for anything.
Honestly, this is disappointing.
His wife is going to live without a husband. And that's not okay, and that's horrible. And no one should be justifying that. Any single person that's in the comment section that is saying that or who does believe that, I want you to unfollow me and unsubscribe to me right now, because there's a clear line of division between us. And I don't support you. And I think what you believe is fucking horrible.
And while I first want to start off by saying I'm so sorry that Parker had to go through that, and I know it's very traumatic, and I hope he gets the help that he needs to get over that, because that's big. This is not the right position for us to take, and he also has a big influence. And when we're just telling people, like, really, you're trying to say the world's not better off without him? You're saying rest in peace, Charlie Kirk? Rest in peace? Fuck, he should be resting where the fuck what he was turning our world into. That's hell. And I loved Parker, but I had to go ahead and unfollow like he wanted.